Hello and welcome to another episode from the Platform Uptake webinar series. My name is Alexander Nikolov and I'm working for Senior GmbH based in Vienna, and we are coordinating the PlatformUptake.eu project. The idea of these virtual events is on one side to share relevant insights we gathered within the project, but beyond that, we would like to get in touch with further stakeholders from the ecosystem of open platforms in the active in healthy aging and ambient assisted living domains, get additional information on the existing capability gaps, innovation needs in the field, and feed this information back into the project. This particular webinar has the goal to set the stage for the upcoming matchmaking activities, which we're organizing within the next weeks and months. For this, representatives of each stakeholder group of our project will present gaps and innovation needs in the field and comment on technology developments and the potential of open platforms for establishment of open market for digital solutions for active and healthy aging. The webinar will begin with a presentation of our colleague and friend, Mr. Frederick Levens from Levens Lachman, Belgium, on the PlatformUptake.eu project and its current achievements regarding the analysis of the ecosystem of open platforms in the field, the main challenges and requirements for their uptake. The event will continue with a presentation of Ms. Natalia Mahalo from Caritas, Portugal, on her experience with open platform services from the point of view of a secondary end user, or how we call it in the project, a care organization active in the field. Then, within approximately 40 minutes, representatives of 2 European municipalities, Ms. Sore Hansen from Denmark and Ms. Robert Tinsen from the Netherlands, will elaborate on their experiences with open platform services and reflect on the needs and requirements for digital technology for active and healthy aging. After the break at 11:30 a.m., the event will continue with presentations of 2 European open platforms, which are successfully applied in both domains. Mr. Bas Goossen, who is the CEO and founder of Mibida, will present Mibida platform and the benefits for end users. Mr. Sergei Golanov, who is the founder and CEO of Golem Integrated Microelectronic Solutions GmbH, based in Vienna, Austria, will showcase Pharos Navigator platform and the very interesting digital twins concept the platform is based upon. In the next session, which is dedicated to technology developers for active and healthy aging, Mr. Gregor Molan, who is the head of science and research at Comrades 360 Slovenia, will elaborate on the technology achievements of his company and highlight some of the benefits of open platforms in the field for the wide deployment of digital solutions for older people. The microphone will be then passed to Ms. Evelyn Kranch, who is responsible for the product Home Tab solution at Caretronics Slovenia. Mr. Kranch will demonstrate in her presentation some of the benefits of this solution and the ways integrated and functioning as a part of an open platform developed and maintained by her company. The event will culminate with presentations on relevant and very, very interesting new projects which have contributed to the state of the art or are currently seeking to upscale the services of open platforms in the active and healthy aging and ambient assisted living domains. After each session of this webinar, there will be an opportunity within 5 to 10 minutes for the audience, but also for the presenters to ask and answer questions. The event will finish shortly before 2:30. Please feel free to ask us questions anytime in the chat option in the right below corner or interrupt us during the presentation. We will be more than happy to answer them either during the event or after its completion. Dear Frederick, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alexander, for the overview of the program. And then I'll just provide a brief view on the project itself, the project PlatformUptake.eu, in the frame of which we are organizing this workshop. As many or most of you know, we are indeed looking at open platforms in the sense of technological platforms, software platforms, etc., which can be used to build or to integrate active and healthy aging solutions, active assisted living solutions to keep people, older people, or to allow them to live independently at home or in a care home setting, etc. And of course, this started from the fact that in the past, a lot of European projects have been funded to set up or to create such platforms, and where the uptake, specifically in the domain of active and healthy aging, has not always been that large. Hence the search for or the need for a larger uptake of such platforms. Of course, in the beginning, it was very much, and we were very much looking at such European funded initiatives and projects and platforms that came out of those projects. But as you have seen from the program, in the meantime, we're also working closely and trying to obtain information from, let's say, more commercially developed platforms or things that have grown into businesses starting from European projects and so on. So there's a lot of interesting experience to be gained in today's webinar from all these different organizations, companies, and projects that you will hear from. Platform Uptake is a coordination and support action, so we are not developing any platforms, technical platforms as such ourselves. Rather, we are looking to promote and communicate around such platforms, and in the end, of course, try to get a larger uptake, a better use, and a better knowledge of those platforms within the wider AHA and AAL communities. The next slide just shows you the partners who are directly involved in the project, where you can also see, and it's relevant for today's workshop, you can see the different types of organizations, stakeholders, because that is also very much the focus of today's webinar. As you have seen from the program, we are trying to give the floor to the different stakeholder categories. They are, in a sense, also represented within the partnership, but of course, we're looking very much to expand that network and to provide the floor also for external organizations and companies. The next slide shows you let's say, our core tasks and focus within the project, which has been around identifying success factors and gaps, but also developing tools that could allow platform developers, but also solution developers, etc., to evaluate where they stand and how they perform or how they could perform in the market. And then, of course, it's very much about involving the community and the stakeholders and disseminating good practices and the knowledge that is out there. The next slide shows some of what I mentioned before, the projects and the initiatives that we're working on or dealing with open platforms in active and healthy aging. Not all of them, as I mentioned before, have been as successful or have been able to sustain themselves and continue. So we ended up in the initial phases of the project with 8 platforms from which we obtained and gathered a lot of information, and that has allowed us to build a number of those tools, self-evaluation tools that I was mentioning before, based on the experience and the knowledge that we have been able to gather from those projects. Those are actually shown on the next slide, and you will certainly recognize a few familiar names there, with the ActiveAge project, who developed the IoTest platform, Fireware, Universal. I think these are quite commonly known throughout the past years within our ecosystem. And then, yeah, we come to a very important point for today's workshops. It's the different stakeholder categories that we involve in the project and overall that are active in the AAL and AHA domain. And as you can see, obviously, there are the primary end users, the older persons themselves, but also their caregivers, secondary end users, which is the care facilities, and then let's say the institutionalized care. We have what we call the AAL, AHA solution developers. You have to consider this as the companies or organizations developing sensors, devices, etc. Sort of the end user products or interfaces that mainly the primary and secondary end users will use. And then the open platforms really is something where those solution providers, the product developers, manufacturers, and so on, can build their integrated solutions on top of. So that's the ecosystem, that's sort of the configuration that we are looking at. And in addition, of course, very importantly, you have authorities, facilitators, funders, insurance providers, who are an important part when it comes to payment, financing, procurement, etc., of such solutions, and allowing the end users to be able to benefit from such products. And all these different stakeholders will indeed be featured in today's webinar. Then we also started looking at the needs and requirements from those different stakeholders. And the webinar today is also very much about this, for us to hear from these different stakeholders what they are looking for, what their needs are in terms of active and healthy aging technological solutions. And you can see them here listed on the screen for primary end users, for the end user, older person themselves. It is, of course, very much about safety of the solutions and the products that they use. They need to be able to trust them. They need to be accessible, easily usable, etc. This also links with interfaces, etc., that need to be adapted to their needs and requirements. When we come to the secondary end users, that is the next slide. You see already a number of things related to costs, investment, scalability, of course, is important. You need to have something, and that's where open platforms can make a contribution, in the sense that they may allow to more easily add or adapt certain solutions if and when needed. Whereas other solutions or platforms may provide sometimes a bit of a barrier there if and when they want to scale up the use or the implementation of those technical solutions. But we'll hear more from some of our speakers in today's webinar. The same thing with the AAL solution providers. As I mentioned, these are really the companies that will work directly with platforms in order to integrate their devices, their IoT solutions, and so on. So again, they're looking at scalability, the fact that these or their solutions can be sort of added on in a modular way through those open platforms, looking at standards and standardization that certainly can also facilitate scalability and cost, etc. Then we come up to the needs and requirements for authorities, policymakers, facilitators, and this we will hear immediately in our next session from the two, let's say, policy representatives. Interesting there, we will also hear some mention of platforms, but rather in the sense of networks of the different stakeholders, which is indeed important as well. But that's, of course, another level of platform. It's not necessarily strictly about the technological and software platform as such. Now, when we look at the successful uptake and evolution of platforms, we have been defining a number of key performance indicators for each of these stakeholder categories. And we can immediately move on to some of the detail of that, which are the different KPIs for those different stakeholder categories. And there we see again some of the things that were mentioned before in the needs and requirements are sort of translated into specific KPIs for those different stakeholder categories. And built based on that, we have then within the project developed that monitoring and evaluation methodology and the tools that will allow platform providers, but also solution and product providers to analyze themselves and their position compared to other platforms, to other providers, and so on. And we'll actually have even more specific sessions, not today, but in the coming weeks around these tools. And we'll be working with platforms, with solution developers to explain these, to work with them and to see how this can be used and this can be beneficial for them. Of course, one of the things is indeed that is very important is around the gaps and challenges for the uptake of open platforms. Why are they not being taken up as much as we would like them to be? Where exactly are the problems, or let's say rather the challenges, and how can we address those? This has to do in one phase with the business modeling, and how you go to market, which also leads us immediately to the communication strategy. How do you communicate as a platform with your potential customers or users, but also from the solution and product providers? How do you announce or communicate around the fact that your solution is built on an open platform and what the benefits are of those? And then there's, of course, a number of regulations and policies to take into account as well. In terms of what we're doing to support some of this and to bring together these stakeholders, these different categories, we, of course, have a number of events like these, but we also have a number of individual interactions with each of the stakeholders in terms of interviews and sessions and meetings that we organize. We will be having, let's say, a very practical pitch and matchmaking session also again in the next few weeks, about which you will be informed, where we will provide opportunities for platforms, for solution developers, but also for users to either express what they are offering or what they are needing. And in that sense, to bring together offer and demand and allow people to get to know each other, get to know what they are doing, what they are offering, or what they need. And from there, of course, develop a direct business or a relationship or an activity together. So you will hear more about this in the upcoming weeks. And let's move on to the next slide, which is indeed the event that I mentioned is part of our matchmaking events. We were talking just before the webinar about our final event, which is scheduled in the very early spring or late winter of 2022. Also there, we will offer opportunities for the stakeholders to be present, to actively participate and contribute to some of the things that we will be doing there. We'll also be announcing some awards at the upcoming events for participation and for exposure in our final project event. So definitely stay tuned as far as that is concerned. And then just to round up, we're showing you here some of the channels, communication channels that we have set up. Very importantly, we of course have our project open information hub, PlatformUptake.eu, where video interviews are posted, documents and resources are posted, and so on. So that will grow even further. And very importantly, there is a listing of platforms, open platforms, and also of solutions, which we are continuously growing, and where we welcome very much and where we encourage platform developers and also solution developers to send us and inform us about what they are doing and what they offer, so that they can also be listed on this open information hub. Of course, there is a social media channel, Twitter, where we communicate about our activities and events. Also the YouTube channel with different videos of interviews, but also videos, tutorials, etc., from the stakeholders that we work with. The next one, just shows what I was mentioning before. And that actually, concludes the brief introduction to the project and where we stand. And I will now hand over again to Alexander for the introduction of our next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Freddie, for the really nice overview of our outstanding concurrent results. And now we move to the first guest presentation, in which Ms. Maharo from Caritas Portugal will share her experience and insights regarding the implementation of open platform services in the field from the point of view of a care organization. Natalia, would you like me to move on with the slides?
Yes, please. Hello, everybody. Good morning. So firstly, I would like to thank you for the invitation for participating in this webinar. So as my name is Natalia Machado, I'm project coordinator at Caritas Coimbra in Portugal, and we are one of the partners of the PlatformUptake project. The theme of my presentation is secondary end users' needs and requirements for open platforms. So I will start talking briefly about Caritas Coimbra. After that, I will talk about the challenges the care providers and end users are facing, and how the solutions built on open platforms can help them overcome those challenges, using as examples some of the projects that we are participating here. So Caritas Coimbra works in the central region of Portugal and has different areas of intervention, such as social inclusion, social support, volunteering, health, active and aging, and children and youngsters. Altogether, we support about 26,000 people per year, and we have about 1,000 employees. All these areas of intervention bring great responsibilities in terms of organization, resources, and services. The ideas of trying out new solutions and increasing the way we collaborate with other organizations end up at the region of our innovation department. So our main strategy here at the innovation department is to promote health and well-being through life. We are implementing this strategy through innovation projects that involve our end users from the beginning of the process, so that our interventions bring benefits to the quality of life of these people. As well, they feel useful and actively participate in decision-making that will influence technologies, benefiting the users now, but also the users from the future. Next slide, please. So here you can see a little bit about our projects. One of them are finished now, but the others are still going on. I will come back later to talk about those two of the solutions that will be built on open platforms. So next slide, please. So over the past decade, many open platforms and solutions have been developed and tested to use innovative technologies to help older citizens live independently in their homes as long as possible. As a result, new technologies will increase the autonomy of older citizens without diminishing the security and care or assistance they need. However, these technologies can also bring benefits to the caregivers. At my presentation today, I will talk mainly about the organizations and how these technologies can decrease the caregiver burden. Next slide, please. We know that demographic change in Europe has impacted a diversity of fields, one of them being the need for care. The caregiver burden is increasing all over the region and can be a form of stress and influence caregivers' daily lives and health. This burden also leads to impact on the social care organizations that need to guarantee the quality of life of their workers and offer better services for their users. It's extremely important to consider the situation and look for some innovation in the services, and the technology can be helpful. To answer this, silver economy products and services for aging and care are increasing and considering the needs and wishes of the users and their caregivers. The user also demands more and more personalized care and services. And here I can highlight one of the benefits of using open platforms that will be a big step forward and cheaper, instead of using various technologies with their own applications and platforms, which also makes solutions more expensive. That way, in summary, the benefits of open platforms are: focus of care is centered on the user, allowing a personalized service, could reduce the caregiver burden. New sensors and devices provide a large amount of data to the user and caregiver. And with open platforms, they can have multiple applications cover different sectors or domains and are easily interoperable without the need to purchase different applications and devices or from different sellers. So next slide, please. For sure, we still have a lot of challenges in improving the acceptance of the technologies in the care of older adults. Here I can bring you some pictures of our daily works, our caregivers working together with the end users. And one of the biggest challenges that we'll deal with every day, at least in Portugal, is the low digital literacy. Both caregivers and older adults need to be more confident in using technologies. But with our experiences, we can see that this challenge will be solved when they perceive the benefits of using technologies in the care. So for this reason, our work here at Caritas Coimbra is bringing together the technologies and the users using some projects, innovation projects for this. So now I will talk about briefly two projects that are aiming to develop solutions that will be built on open platforms. The first project is the Pharaon project. The overall objective of the Pharaon project is to provide support for Europe's aging population by integrating digital services, devices, and tools into open platforms that can be readily deployed while maintaining the dignity of older adults and enhancing their independence, safety, and capabilities. The project will utilize a range of digital tools, including connected devices, artificial intelligence, robotics, cloud, and edge computing, smart wearables, big data, and intelligence analytics that will be integrated to provide personalized and optimized healthcare delivery. The Pharaon integrated platforms will be validated in two stages. We are now at the first stage, that is the pre-validation of these technologies, and the other part will be the implementation of a large-scale pilots to see if these technologies, these technologies can be used at field, and in 6 different locations. So we will test it at Spain, Portugal, Netherlands, Slovenia, and Italy. Here, I will talk about the test at Portugal and how we will address the secondary end users' needs. So basically, Pharaon pilot in Portugal will mainly aim to connect the smart city with the aging challenges, seeking to put health and social care on the heart of the cities. So here you can find the 3 main areas that we will cover. The first area will be participating in the community life. So basically, we will test a mobile app with geolocations that support older adults in social networking, report needed environment measures, raise awareness on green and blue areas, and order goods and services. The second area will be ensure a safe and comfortable environment with assistive tools that support older adults by providing multidimensional stimulation, monitor health status and behaviors, assisting in activities of daily living, report relevant changes. And lastly, a lifelong learning, be learning tool that allows older adults and care relatives to improve digital soft and care skills and enroll initiatives. I can see that we have a question here, so I will talk briefly about these green and blue areas. The objective of these services is to connect the end users, the older adults, with basically the areas around them to provide this active aging with, for example, they can find with this geolocation app what to do at parks or how to find some places to go for a walk, or how at this place to go for a walk they can find a place to sit, to drink a coffee, something like that. So the objective of this app will be provide them some tips of how to go to the city and how to explore this green related to nature and blue areas. Hope answer your question. So next slide, please. Here I will focus at the point that we are testing now at this pre-validation phase, a solution related to participate in the community life regarding the functionalities of social networking and other goods and services. The other functionalities, especially these functionalities of this geolocation about the green and blue areas, are still waiting for participating of new technology providers, are in having now an open call going on. So come back to this participate in the community life. Even in a previous phase of this test, we already could see some benefits of using this kind of solution in the care of older adults. The social networking can be used as a way for caregivers to communicate with older adults without the necessity of going to their homes. I will explain better how this works. Here at Caritas Coimbra, for example, we have the home care services that our caregivers go to the users' homes every day to provide some services like delivering lunch, laundering, or helping them with some daily tasks. But also this is an opportunity for the caregiver to check if the user is okay and talk a little bit to prevent older adults' loneliness. This kind of services like a social networking with the pandemic situation was very good, and we could provide some services to the end users that was not allowed because of the social distance and other measures imposed by the government. So basically we need to adapt these services. To not put the users at risk and continue providing them disclosure services, solutions like these were used to help the communication, check if the user needs some help, or even for talk a little bit as they were in social isolation. So basically we did video chats with the end users. So our caregivers, former caregivers, concerned about the isolation of our end users could use technologies like this to communicate with them. So this could improve the well-being and quality of life of our users, and also they could use this to talk with their families. Even now, with the measures more open, more easily, the caregivers continue to use this solution to reduce costs and time visiting users that are okay or don't need assistance, avoiding unnecessary dislocation. Finally, the services on demand, like the order goods and services, will be a possibility of providing some new services for our users without increasing the caregiver workload. With this platform, the users will be able to ask some medication or to buy groceries at distance in an easy way, involve the small market around them. And also with the requirements collected with our caregivers, they see that all together in the same platform, it's easier to them. I want to clarify that here I'm talking about only the Portuguese pilot. So the Faraon project will have a lot of different services with being applied in the other pilots. Here I have another question. So when did the testing start? So we started the pre-validation at September of this year. So the pre-validation is still going on. We started testing the technology as they were. Now the end users organizations did provided to the technological partners some feedback about them, how to better address our end users' needs. And the next phase will be a second phase of this pre-validation that we will start at January. After that, this will be put all together in a platform. Then we will test at the pilot in the next year, more or less, starting at May of the next year. If there's no more questions about the Pharaoh project, I will pass to the second project. So here we have the project, the second project is Diana project. This project aims to improve the life of people suffering from cognitive impairment by using sensors which deliver anonymous images to the caregivers, and the activities of people will be detected and analyzed. The main points here are to help the users to be autonomous and to reduce the caregiver burden. So basically here we are involving persons with 65 years older, but these persons have some kind of cognitive impairment. Also, they are receiving professional care of former caregivers in an institutionalized care setting. For example, here at Caritas, we have the nursing homes, and we will be testing these sensors with our end users. Next slide, please. In that sense, a smart 3D sensor and milestone platform are combined to provide an easy-to-use application with many functions. So we will monitor the safety of patients 24/7 hours and observe health trends of patients, for example, water intake, change of behavioral partners. As I said previously, this project will deal with persons with dementia. So it's very difficult to involve them at all phases of the project, because this is a kind of situation that they are not, many of them are not allowed to talk for themselves. So what we did was to involve the caregivers and these secondary end users, because they have a lot of difficulties to deal and to care persons with this kind of cognitive impairment. So with this, come back into the sensors. A central open management platform is linked to the sensors and provides a clear visualization of the user. So a mobile application and connection to the nursing documentation. Basically, what will happen of this Diana project, it's structured in modules. The basic module functionalities are to detect falls and bad exits. This will allow the caregiver to be more, not to do so many rounds to see if the users are okay. The interaction model is a virtual assistant to guide the user through certain activities of daily living with a special focus on toileting. So this should help users to stay autonomous and to keep their dignity. Also, nurses and caregivers can be supported in this way, which frees time for a more personalized care. Basically, what happens here at Caritas is that our nurses and caregivers need to stay with these users that are not so more autonomous to using the toilet. They need to stay with them during this time. And our aim with this project is to free the caregiver and the nurse from these kind of services, and we will allow them to have more free time to other important tasks. And lastly, the analysis model that provides study movement flows of the resident in shared areas. This shall help to identify where people tend to get stuck during their wandering. It's more related to persons with dementia. This project is also in a previous phase. We are still testing the solution in a real environment, but since in the beginning of the project, we are involving the caregivers to address their needs when caring for persons with dementia. What we collect until now with the requirements collection was their perspective is that a system like this, they will be less stressed as they could help the users faster, or even with the check periods could be reduced. Also, the system could improve the autonomy of older adults, providing them the possibility of managing daily activities as going to the toilet by themselves. Put all these together and the caregiver receive the information in the same platform could also benefit and could be an easy way for them to do their works. The major benefit for sure will be to detect if a person is not in the room, especially at the night. That also will reduce the caregiver burden for this. So thank you. I don't know if you have some more questions. I have another question here. Which platform has been used? And what did you need to customize, develop to meet your needs? The platform will be the Milestone. I don't know if this answers your question. I'm not the technological provider, but we know that is the Milestone, the platform. What did you need to customize, develop to match your needs? I'm not sure if I understand the question, so if you could please clarify.
Sure. Often when you use an open platform, you try to use it as it is most of the time, but it doesn't mean that you have all the layers needed in order to connect all the applications that you want to use. For example, sometimes you need to develop a semantic ontology or whatever components which are missing in the platform itself in order to connect. So my question is that how far have you been able to use the platform as such, and how much work has been necessary in order to actually do the work? I know it's more technical question, but
yes, but I will try to answer this because we are still in a previous phase of the testing the solution. So for now, we only did previous tests to see if the caregivers could understand the images and if the images that we are collecting are not invading, like if I can say that way, the privacy of our end users. So for now, we are still seeing if the system putting all together inside the platforms are giving us the information that we need, and they are still seeing if this artificial intelligence can provide us the basic exits and if the sensors are seeing if the person is falling. So we are still even in a previous phase of the project, but we are using our caregivers to see if these technologies are answered to their needs at this moment.
Yeah. May I just ask another question then? How have you been constructing your baseline data to train your algorithm?
I don't know how to answer this question because I'm not a technological provider, but here it's only my focus here at Caritas will be only test the system and guarantee that the end users' privacy is not being are not being violated, if I can say that way. So I can also send to you some information about and give you the link about the project. That way you can enter at contact with the technological providers that can be answer your question.
Natalia, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So my question is related to experience which you have regarding this digital applications in elderly environment.
Yeah.
There are publications which mention that people 85 plus are not capable to enter the digital era. Is it correct? What's your opinion?
Yes, we have a lot of experiences in that field because we are dealing with some projects since our innovation department has 10 years from now. So since since the beginning, we are dealing with all kind of elderly adults. So basically, we can see at least at the older adults that are living in Portugal that they has a low digital literacy. So for at the beginning of the projects, we see that these end users, especially the oldest one, have some difficulties to deal with technology and are not able to do that by themselves. So for this reason, I say that we have a difficult challenge that is to provide them digital literacy. So for this reason, we are improving our services. Basically, the daycare center are dealing with digital literacy sessions to our end users to allow them to understand the technology and to see how the technology can improve their lives. So we are doing this kind of services besides what we are doing in the projects for them to be able to test the projects that we are dealing with. So we can see that the oldest adults, 85 years old, for example, or even older, because we have for now participants with 90 years old that are testing the systems. So basically, at the beginning, they feel that they are not capable to test and to use technologies like these, but with time and providing with some digital literacy sessions, they start to feel more comfortable. At the beginning, they feel like they will crush the system, like nothing will work good. But with the time, giving them time to understand, they start to like it. And we could see that with the pandemic situation, for example, that many of our users was not used to use cell phones, for example. And with starting this, they could start and could improve their lives and quality of life. So it is very important to do this separate work, like see their problems with dealing with technology and provide them some literacy for this.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I don't know if you have another question.
I think there are one more question from Lizia Pono. Do you also detect real-time physical parameters of the patients?
At this time, no. Our objective of our projects, yes, but from this issue that we are dealing, no, not physical parameters, no. Only the Diana system, for example, is only detecting if they leave the bed and if there is some falls at the room. And the toilet part of the Diana project will have an avatar to check the person if they are doing all the tasks for the toileting, and if they stop some of these activities, the avatar will give them tips of how to proceed. For example, hey, don't forget to wash your hands or something like that, but not physical parameters.
All right, I have two questions for you. Does the project plan of the Diana platform project include also or foresees the commercialization of the platform services, or if yes, how do you plan to approach this task? Is it within a particular organization that will be established after the end of the project, or is it by one of the partners in the consortium, which is a company in the field? What are your plans?
Yes, we have the business plan for this, and at the end of the project, the organization that are dealing the coordination of the project will have the exploitation of the services. So we are dealing with this also during the project and how to put this at the market.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we'll be the coordinator of the project that will have this.
Thank you. Since the project has started in February 2020, we are pretty sure that you as a consortium has already collected valuable insights in the field. Are there any identified challenges for the foreseen uptake or commercialization of the platform? Have you already collected some factors or challenges that needs to be tackled in this process?
I don't know if I can answer your question fully, but yes, we deal with the pandemic during the project. So for this reason, we don't have this area so much developed until now. So basically, we have to suspend the project for a little bit because of the pandemic situation. So with some tasks, including this one, we're not so developed for now. So besides, we have a lot of projects we started last year, so we have now almost 2 years from project. This part is not so developed, and I cannot answer you fully.
Thank you. However, since our project will be still running for some time, we will gladly support you regarding the uptake with our tools and methodologies. So whenever you feel ready, you can get in touch with us and we can discuss this point.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I will pass the information for the other partners. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the really, really nice, informative presentation. Are there any questions from the audience or the presenters for Natalia before we move on?
I will send Sylvia the link to the platform. I also see the question here. Yes, you already answered. Yes.
Oh, okay, perfect. I think Luke has asked another question. He's asking how can the platform support further adaptations, other sensors, other applications? I don't know if you have answered this question. He just posted the question in the chat.
Yes, for sure. I can bring out when I have this information from the project, how we will sell the services versus the platform. I can also answer you about that after. And how the platform can support further adaptations. Yes, it's also a question from a technological provider, so I am sorry for not able to answer this, but I can also send you the information after all.
Thank you, Natalia. Thank you very much. All right, so let's move on. In the next session, Ms. Hansen and Ms. Testen will elaborate on their experience as representatives of two big European municipalities with open platform services and digital technologies for active and healthy aging. Dear Sonia, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here. Nice to meet you all. And as we just told, it's about platforms today. I will mainly talk about two platforms, but before this, please, next slide. I will give a bit background. We are in Aarhus municipality. It's the second largest city in Denmark. You can see it in the middle of Jutland. And the third part in the middle is the region Central Denmark. We have about these 340,000 citizens and included 19 municipalities. We are always looking for new solutions, innovative solutions to help our citizens to live an independent life and as long as possible in their own home, as also from many other countries in Europe. And quality of life. Next slide, please. Another background is that we have about 5,000 full-time employees in the field of health and care in our department, and a budget of about 344 million euros. We have 10,200 users of personal care in nursing home and in their own home. And we have 4,000 units as nursing homes, etc., where we have older persons living. So about 60,000 senior citizens in our municipality. And we have the same challenges because of democratic change as all other countries, I think. Increasing number of older people. We will have about 556,000 in 2030, about 67 years old, and more with chronic disease. The stay in hospital is not that long anymore because they are going home after a short duration in the hospital, and then they have to have a service at home. And there are not that many younger people who are getting work. We are a little vintage in the labor market, and we have a need of more employees in the coming years. And therefore, we have some platforms, as I told. Next slide, please. And the first I will talk about is the assisted living technology map. It's a map that is a part of our local government, Denmark. It's called KL in Danish. It's an association with interest organizations, and it's for the municipalities. We are 98 municipalities in Denmark. It's our, so to say, our political way to the Commission. They help us with all our challenges and take them to the politicians in Denmark, and they go then to the Commission what we need, what is necessary. This our own department, which have a primary task of cooperations with other departments, are also always looking after solutions. And this technology map is one of the solutions we can use. There are several bullets or areas we can choose. I don't know if you maybe can click on the link so we can see what the map is could be used to.
Let me just stop sharing the presentation. I'll jump to the.
Okay, maybe the control. But it doesn't matter if not, because there are some bullets you can choose if you want to find municipalities and technologies and implementation areas. How do they, which technologies do the different municipalities have? Which projects do they work on? What is the outcome of these projects? Have they implemented these projects or ideas? So you can go through all municipalities if you want. If you are looking for a specific area, an app, or robotic solutions, or it could also be how to communicate with doctors and the municipality and elders, and also with all your relatives. So this is a map where you can find many solutions ongoing and also former solutions, and see if you can find a match that could be used in our municipality. You can copy paste if you want. And this assisted living technology map, the organization has a new strategy, and this is from 2021 to 2025, and it's about a strategy on digitalization. So they are working on because we need to have more digital solutions, both for municipality and also for older people and relatives, and solutions that are made with the background of the needs. The needs of the citizens is very important for our municipality. Need and demand has to match, and therefore we are always in contact with our companies. We have a close working what's called it, a public-private innovation fund we also have, so we can work together with the companies for finding the best solutions for our citizens, and also solutions, individual solutions that matches their needs, so they can stay at home as long as possible. Next slide. And this was so the assisted living technology map. Another platform we are using is quite new. It's only 1 year old. It's the Danish life science cluster. You can see in the middle. It's another platform. The first platform was mainly for the public authorities, but this platform is for everyone who wants to take a look and find good solutions. Or it could be technology solutions, it could be collaborations, it could be events, whatever the members want to look after. It's member based, so a municipality I think has to pay about 25,000 kroner a year to be a member, and a little company has to pay much lower member fee. So here you can get in contact and find the newest of what is ongoing in Denmark, but also in other countries, because there's also an international side of this platform. And Besides these two platforms, we have other platforms, many other. I'm using many European platforms because I am working with this area as a European project officer. So I'm looking at area in for HAL, etc. Also to find the good solutions, practices, collaborations, also with companies and with institutions, universities, and therefore we have also many ongoing projects in this area. Maybe next slide. Yes, and therefore we have many ongoing projects and also other platforms. I have also, I can also mention we have business houses in Denmark where they, in every region there's a business house where the companies can get advice and also where to find the solutions they want, and also be told about where they can maybe be a part of a project, maybe talk with a technological institute, maybe go to our innovation foundation because they have also money they will fund to smaller companies to upscale. So there are many possibilities in Denmark, I think, and besides these platforms, we also have our own platform in the municipality called DocX. It's an exhibition area where we have the exhibitions every 3 months with different themes, where you can see what is on the market now, what are the new startups working on, what are other companies, which solution do they have, and then the citizens and also students, other companies, and everyone has access to this exhibition area. It's for free, and they can go and ask where they can maybe find the collaborations. And the theme for will just change here in November. It's the next theme is about the next pandemic. Sorry to say, maybe there will be a next pandemic, and which technological solutions do we need to have when this pandemic will be a part of our society. So the companies are very they are looking to be a part of all of our platforms, and the municipality are having very good collaborations with these companies because we help each other to grow and to make good business cases, so our citizens can have a good life as long as possible in their own home. I think this was from me at the point, so I don't know if anyone has questions or we should wait till after.
Thank you, Sonia, for the really interesting, informative presentation. There is one question from Luke in the chat. He's asking, do you connect all your platforms, and if yes, how?
I don't know. We don't connect the platforms, but we are. Some of my colleagues are working with some platforms because they matches for the work they do, and other stakeholders are using another platform. But the DocX is we are maybe the Danish life science cluster could be connected to our DocX because we can share our experience there. Yes. But we are not connecting in another way. I don't think so.
Thank you, Sonia.
Yeah, I would just like to mention something, because this is also an interesting perspective, and I was mentioning in the beginning, in the introduction to the project and the webinar, that indeed we would also be hearing from platforms, not necessarily or strictly in the sense of an actual software platform, a technological platform, but rather platforms in the sense of networks. And what we see here in Denmark, and we know that Denmark in various fields is indeed quite strong on that, and on bringing together the different stakeholders or different actors within the same stakeholder group together in networks, in platforms, to collaborate, to exchange, etc. And as we see, and then again, this webinar is also about this, the various categories of users and stakeholders and so on that are involved and that should be involved in this open platform for active and healthy aging ecosystem. It's interesting to see that indeed you have such different networks existing, where platform providers, in the sense of technical and software platform providers, can get in touch with or meet with or interact and match with other solution developers or with end users or secondary end user organizations, etc. So there again, I think this is a useful experience to be learn from and to take over also in other regions, other countries, etc. Because what we have been stumbling upon over the past year is indeed often, you know, some limited knowledge around open platforms and the existence of certain solutions, technical solutions, and so on. And this can be improved by putting those stakeholders together through such networks. So I think that is definitely good to see that this is happening in Denmark.
Yes, and sorry, I forgot one thing. We have an ongoing project called Osiris, and there we are working on a smart silver lab, where the companies can be a part of, and then can see what is affordable, available in different countries for funds and collaborations, etc. But it's not finished yet.
Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have one question regarding the representation of the digital solutions for active and healthy aging on Coimbra platform. Are there any criteria for the selection of these technologies from the point of view, for example, of their usability, benefits for the older people, also from point of view of market requirements such as compliance with certain standards, regulations, etc.? Do you pre-select the most suitable ones, or do you have any procedure in this regarding this matter?
Do you mean if we are looking for solutions?
What I mean is, do you select the solutions which are presented on this platform, or everyone can, for example, create his own profile and upload information on the solution? How do you ensure that the solutions on the platform meets the requirements of the older people?
Normally, if we have solutions, they are being tested. In our department, we are developing together with companies, testing, and afterwards implementing the solutions if they, of course, have a good business case for the municipality, but also if it's a good solution for the older people. The older citizens, if they don't need it, if they don't have any demand for the solutions, then it's not a good solutions, also not for the municipality. So we have a criteria which has to be, what's called? We have to these criteria that have to be checked if it's a good solution. Okay, is it good for also for the citizen, or is it only good for the company? It's a fine solution, but we can't use it. So therefore, we also have been a part in the 3D print project, where the citizen have been a part, so they could design their own solution, the individual solution. And this is very good, because this project has gained more solutions afterwards, and now it's implemented in the municipality. So everyone, or not everyone, but you can have 3D printed your device better living and quality of life. So of course there are some criteria we have to fulfill, and the municipality also looks at the financial side. So a good business case is always a good must.
Really nice. And regarding the public procurement innovation, the PPP fund, are there any selection criteria for participating in this process? Or, for example, do I, as an Austrian company, can participate in a public procurement innovation action organized by your municipality?
This public-private innovation fund is a budget from the municipality, so it's only for the companies in the municipality. They can have an idea, and then they can apply for funding and work together with the municipality to test it, maybe in a nursing home, or maybe in home care, or maybe for children in another department. So it's a fund for the whole municipality, so also for children, young people, older people, etc. So it's not for outside the municipality.
Okay, so thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions from the audience for Sonia?
Yes, there are.
Please.
Hello, Sonia. It was good. It's good to see you in this era again, live and smiling. This is I saw you in pre-COVID era, which was fantastic compared to this one where we live now. A question regarding your experience, maybe you can comment. Are there any applications or so-called technical platform, not networking, which use conversational chatbots for interfaces and interactions with people? Do you have any experience, your team? I mean, mobile applications which can speak with people in natural language.
Yes, I do think if you are talking about conversation between the municipality and the...
No, conversation between aging person, let's say 65 plus, and application using natural language.
Yes. Yes,
are there any? Yeah.
I think we have, but I have to check it because it's not this exactly my area. But I'm sure we have this. If you can write me this question, so
okay,
check for you.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All the best. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? If there are no such, since we're already a little bit out of time, let's move on to the next presentation, which will be held by Robert Hinson. Robert, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. You can see my slide or not, because I can see if you can see it.
Yes, you. If it's possible, you can also zoom it out so we can see the slides on the whole screen.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yes. Well, good morning. This is my agenda. I will try to be fast and swift because we are out of sync with time. First, the introduction, and then I want to tell something about our organizational requirements for correctly identifying needs. Then I go on with platform collaboration plateaus, and I have only one example from practice, but in that example, you can have everything from failure to what we now think, and how to relate and how to connect to get to procurement. First of all, my name is Robert Thijssen. I'm working for SIGRA. SIGRA is a regional partnership of organizations in care and welfare. It's not only for the elderly, but also youth care, GPs, hospitals, everything. Together, we have 120 members, hospitals and care organizations, and they contain together more than 130,000 professionals. And we're working for 1.8 million inhabitants. Next to there, you see all the parties in our association. First, I want to go back to how we started and how we did identify what we need today. We had 3 programs, integrated care and well-being. That's all about the things happening between a nursing home and another nursing home, or all nursing homes, or a hospital and a nursing home, or GP and a nursing home. We were on that policies. Of course, the labor market and education. Labor market, there's a shortage. Every country has this. And third, we had the IT innovation and e-health program. I was running the innovation lab, and I will come to that in a minute. And we provide some healthcare IT services, from secure email, cross-document sharing, and regional coordination platforms. Then how we want to identify our future needs. For that, we started an innovation lab, and this innovation lab is a kind of an outboard model for regional innovation. And we mainly deal with these matters with a complex cooperation issue for which there's no existing solution yet, and also not an existing solution. The market is also not reacting. That's why we wanted the innovation lab. We see 4 ways to innovate. Because we're working together in an association, we are a network, so things pop up in a network. And second, there is a team you can't solve alone as an organization, like, for instance, depression, or bigger mental issues, or people wandering the streets. There are somewhere budget or grants in Europe or nationally, and you can act on that. And at what moment you want to mature and scale up. I can see questions popping up, because is it okay if I deal with them later? Then we have an Amsterdam Vital and Healthy. We set up an Amsterdam Vital and Healthy stakeholder party. In there, we have a client interest organization with real clients and patients. We as Healthcare United SIGRA in this. We have our health insurer Silver Kruis, and we have the city of Amsterdam participating together. The idea of that is that we wanted the whole system in the room to make a sustainable impact. You can see it like this, horizontal. We want to address the issues like mental health around youth and family, the elderly, and people with chronic conditions. And right on that, we have other coalitions, one for acute care, the labor market and education, digital care, and we have a coalition, growth of the green city, and it's a citywide overall coalition. First, we already did come to a model for common growth and common movement. In the bottom, because we want to go to population health management at one time. In the bottom, you see we are talking first about optimization of internal processes inside an hospital, nursing home. And to the right, we need digitization for that. So we have our electronic health records, our client records, and other systems. Then we go one plateau up, and there we are talking about collaboration between healthcare providers. there you have the secure email, and we have like transfer platforms for transferring patients and to monitor them. And when you go one more plateau up, there's the healthcare user involved, like the portals every hospital, nursing home has, but still as a patient you have to go to maybe 4 or 5 portals. So there is also, yeah, well, it's happening naturally, working on a personal health environment standard. So that means that the nursing homes and the hospitals go to that vault of the patient. And last but not least, we have the care improvement through data analysis. And for that, you need natural language processing, deep machine learning, etc., AI. And we have a quadruple aim testing grounds, which means we're doing the things for a healthy population. We want the right care at the right moment for the patient. We want the cost reduced, and we also, the fourth one is very important. We want a happy professional. Well, there's the difficulty. If you only follow the left arrow, operates only as one organization, you everyone builds their own platforms, and then you get to an unsustainable level of investment, and you have kind of a new walls. We call it island automation, and later on you have to connect all these islands, and it's really not working well. You have the other way around. Everyone working together, but everyone on the same IT platform scaling up together. Well, that's many times too much of a royal approach, because everyone is waiting for everyone and nobody is learning. So somewhere you have to go to the middle to have it working, to come finally to good population health management. Now, this is an example of the geriatric care system platform we are building now. You see the red arrows from GP to the emergency department to the hospital. Every red arrow means something is not good. You have these green arrows, they're probably now also red, because we did the research before COVID, and now it's big pressure on the care system. Well, on every transition, we have a bottleneck. Wait, first the correct, maybe I have to tell something about, I have to put this away a little bit. Yeah, we have 800,000 elderly people age 75 plus, and they appear every year on the emergent care, of which 280,000 need acute care. Well, that's a big problem. And maybe the bigger problem is that the system creates its own care demand, because 1 out of 3 of the elderly people permanently deteriorate in functioning, and 1 in 5 returns to the emergency department within a month, and 1 in 3 also dies within a year after admission. We have bottlenecks mainly occurring at the transition points between healthcare providers, and at many transition points there are platforms to improve cooperation. But at the same time, they are sometimes counterproductive for the entire population of elderly. Supply and demand in the entire domain are not properly matched, and a quantitative insight is required. And because there's too little coordination for integrated planning between providers. You can see it like a waterbed. If we have one matching platform, for instance, between hospital and the client going back at home, where you need to have need care. If it's working there between 2 hospitals and, for instance, 3 nursing homes, it will be very great for them, but it will be bad for the whole of the population. So the other one is also improving, having a platform, and then you have around 50 platforms not really coexisting together. So there we said we have to build our own platform. So it's not moving. Oh, wait. Yes. And build it from the inside out. Our research goals of Dolce Vita, that means data-driven optimization for a vital elderly care system, is that we want to use state-of-the-art data analytics techniques to develop a quantitative model that describe the dynamics and constraints. That means we are building a simulation model where we can have where we can put our policies in, like okay, there's a new pandemic. What will be the effect of all the nursing homes and all the hospitals? Or we want to close an hospital. Second is we want to predict on the implication of short-term choices for capacity planning, patients' preference, and long-term policy decisions like investments and policy changes. And we want to use the insights to support improved joint decision-making at a macro level that properly deals with conflicts of interest between different stakeholders. The result now, after 1.5 years, we are simulating on real data, is that we have a waiting time from before over 200 days now to 33 days. And that's because we have all the data from all the platforms, and we are putting it in one platform together with the data from the Central Bureau of Statistics. And we have running machine learning on the data like stochastics, and so we can predict what to do, and we can act on what to do with the logistics to make it fast. Needs and requirements for digital technology. How to relate? It's very important. I heard before a go-to-market strategy. We are basically working now, it's work in progress, to a kind of a come-to-market strategy. So we want to be ready for all kinds of platforms which can help us. But you need to do some things for it. We have to have an understanding from platform to us as an organizational unit on policy. So policy coordination is very important. We have to have a collaboration on care processes, and you see this hand. You can, if you don't do it, well, the tower gets really unstable, and if you don't do something about security or on applications, then it's not going to work very well. We like we like a platform to be disruptive, but we still need to be in some control. So on information, we have to have an understanding of structure and content. On applications, we need to link systems, infrastructure, contracts, and standards. That's how to relate, how to connect. That's something different. It's more about values. We are thinking about what are our values. For instance, it's very important for us citizens have a say. Digital rights are very important. Good employership, and with good employership, I mean we don't want an Uber with an algorithm as a manager between Uber and the taxi driver. We don't want these kind of employmentship. We very much want health inequalities in society. We want a solution for that. So if there's an entrance to care, it has to be not only for the rich, not only for the poor, but together. And the profits, and that's also a very important one, the profits from the platform have to be returned in some aspect to society, and not we don't want it to go to shareholders somewhere in the world. That's it. Questions? I stop sharing, and then I maybe can see the chat questions. Okay, where do we have to start? Do you connect all your platforms? No, that was for Sonia.
This is a question. But I have two questions for you, Robert.
Yeah.
We find your statement very interesting that Europe built their own platforms, sustainable level investment, etc. New walls you mentioned in your presentation. Is there a particular mechanism at your municipality to regulate this process of creating many platforms?
No, we don't want to create them all ourselves, because we only did it now because we want a high standard, and we don't want only to match parties together, but we really wanted to optimize, and we didn't find a partner to do that. Yeah, we did find it, a scientific partner, but no commercial partners. And commercial platforms only wanted to have the matching between 2 or 3 or 4 parties, but not for the whole community, because in a way it's pretty risky to do that, because before we have an understanding, you have a value of that maybe from 4 years on. So we want to learn from that first for ourselves, and be ready and advertise. This is Amsterdam. We have these values. You have to relate to us this way. If you have a platform which can contribute to our values, please call us, and we have a discussion.
Thank you very much. And also regarding the statement that supply and demand in the entire domain are not properly matched, it's fully correct. We find it really accurate. And also it underpins one more time the role of open platforms as facilitators of open market of digital solutions, where competition matters and when competition plays a role for the quality of the delivered services. So from your point of view and experience, what are the challenges for the wider deployment of such platforms? Is it the lack of awareness on their benefits, or the reluctance of the organizations that can apply these platforms? The problem regarding their wider application?
Yeah, to say it's very black and white. Many platforms are now offering something before we ever asked, or when we are asking, they're offering something that fits for maybe 80%, but still, if it's working, then we want something different, or we want to adapt something, or to change something. It calls for problems. So we want to have the understanding, in a philosophical way from the start. That's why we want to open up to the market in the way that we have kind of an advertisement. This is how we want to do business. For instance, before Sergey Golovanov, I believe, he asked Sonia, do you want to do something with chatbots? Do you have something with chatbots? Well, we want to do something with chatbots. We want to have the whole entrance of care, if it's youth care or it's elderly care or what care it is. We want the whole entrance for the first 20 questions. Maybe we want it done 24/7 by a chatbot. So we're thinking about it now. Do we want this? What will be the benefits? Can it help every citizen? Because some are not really digital. So we are thinking about it. It's very interesting. Maybe there will be some kind of a procurement question, or we go to TenderNet, and there we're going to say we want the entrance behind the chatbot, and these are our values. but these values will not change for the next coming 10 years, I guess. So you can already be ready to have this, to share the values and know already how to relate with us. And if you have a solution like that, we have a chatbot, we have NLP, and they can do it, then you're already almost in.
Thank you very much for the really comprehensive answer. Are there any other questions from the audience?
No, only an affirmative that it is the last 20% by Luc. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
All right.
May I ask? Yes,
Of
please.
course. Of course. Of
Yes.
course.
Yes.
Robert, Sergey speaking. So what's your approach, I mean, your team approach toward new projects in Horizon Games next year?
Because we have the whole system in the room now, we are mainly looking at what are our biggest obstacles and what are our biggest problems. And we will ask our digital coalition, and they will ask me as an innovation lab, is there a digital solution to that? So then we will have our research in Europe or maybe abroad. If there's not, then maybe we want to make a platform for working. If there is one, we want to get it inspired, or we are going to look for a grant together with some parties in Europe to do it together.
Okay, thank you. I will write to you. Thank you.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, that's it, I think.
All right. Thank you very much, Robert, for the really comprehensive information and presentation. All right, so now it's time to have our coffee break or lunch break. We together with Frederick suggest that we come back exactly at 12 o'clock. That means in 17 minutes, we will continue with two really interesting presentations from Bas Kusen, Beta Platform, and Sergey Golonov, Pharos Navigator IoT Platform. So let's have the break now, and we see us and hear us at 12 exactly. Thank you. All right, we hope that you managed to rest and get some energy for the second part of our webinar, which will continue with very interesting presentations on two European open platforms, which are successfully applied and used in the active and healthy aging and ambient assisted living domains. Bas, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me on this this webinar. So I was asked to present a bit about our platform, which is the MiBeta platform, and I will tell a little bit about how that came to be. I'll also shift my my video to presenting mode so that maybe the slides can be tracked. That might be handy. So basically, a little bit of my background and how I came to be the founder of MiBeta. As education, I started in the University of Applied Sciences in Utrecht as an embedded system engineer. And from there, I became the project manager of the smartest home of the Netherlands and quickly rolled into a lot of European projects. And a lot of these European projects were focused on the design and evolution of open service platforms, specifically to maintain an active ecosystem of services and social interaction in the field of active and healthy aging. And I've started one of the projects, NetCarity, because that was basically the basis of the idea that formed the MiBeta platform. And later on with MiBeta, we also did this project called SmartCare. So that was basically the last European project we were actively involved in, subsidized. And I want to take you back to a very special moment in Austria, Albach, 2010. It was a project meeting of NetCarity. As you can see in the picture, I hope you can see it pretty well. We were working pretty hard and we looked pretty stressed out at that point. It was a kind of educational meeting there where we did morning sessions in Altbach, so to 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, I don't know actually anymore. And we were free to go skiing and that kind of stuff, and then we would continue the meeting between 5 and 8 o'clock in the evening. So we had our 8-hour days, so don't worry. But it was a good bit of fun there. But there was also one part that really struck me, and it was a business meeting. So we were doing an educational session on how to create a business, and at a certain point, the guy that was also sitting in the bus doing the education session asked, who of the people that are in here right now is going to do anything with, or is going to start a business with, or is going to take this, what we do here, to market? And there were, I think, 23 companies represented by, I think, 55 participants in there out of 7 to 8 countries, and nobody reacted. That's basically what struck me, and that's what basically got into me, and where I raised the question, how do we get it out there? And that's also the title of this presentation, and that's where MiBida came in, because I basically founded MiBida at that point to bring the results out there. So next slide, please. The MiBida platform is based on the ideas of NetCarity, and there are a few things of which I'm pretty proud, and that's, for instance, the zero trust principle. And zero trust wasn't really a thing back then in 2009, what we are talking about roughly. It means that basically you make you arrange the platform in a sense that you can mathematically prove that only the people who are supposed to have access to specific content have access. And I think it only became a word, zero trust security, in 2013 or something on the internet. So we were pretty early on with that. And there's another special part, that's the redundancy and scalability that we were able to achieve, because we knew that the platform we were going to use needed to be very much scalable, because we made it for the ecosystem of healthcare around all the Europeans. And this means that you have a lot of people involved. You have the home healthcare, you have the general practitioners, you have the family members, you have the older people themselves. Well, times the amount of older persons that we have is a lot of people. So we needed it to be scalable and redundant. It needs to be available. And we built it around a service and module infrastructure on which we could easily form and manipulate the things that the platform was capable of doing, because we knew we needed to be flexible. Interoperability played a big part, where we have connected, for instance, with hospital care information systems. We have connected with GP care information systems and all that kind of external parties. And we have also, the platform has a lot of connectability to it in form of REST APIs and WebSockets. WebSockets, of course, being far superior since they can work both ways. Okay, next slide. And there is a few basic features that every user of the platform can use. So every developer also that develops his own module of the platform has direct access to these functions, which is communication. So you have a contact list, you have chat, you have video, you have conferencing features, but also you have things like, well, it was mentioned before by Sergey, and Robert also commented on it, the chatbots. There's a very extensive chatbot engine in the platform, which is directly available for those who want to develop on it. There is file storage systems for securely storing your information, of which most of the other services also make use in order for also the users to be able to export their details and their data. There is a care path functionality, which is able to perform anamnesis, is able to perform assessments of patients in specific situations in their care path. It's able to provide information. There is sensor information, so live information from, for instance, wearables. So we're doing live sensing from the watch, which is also running the platform software, or from mobile phones, which are running the platform software. There's alert statistics. So there's a calendar for scheduling and so on. So there's a lot of features and functions that is available within such a platform, and that you get basically when you start working with the platform. Also less obvious features that you might forget when designing your solutions, things like control, finance, logging, backups, and all of the bunch of security features and security designs that you need to take into account, of course. So that brings me to the point, an open platform. What is an open platform, and why should you use an open platform? And an open platform in our case is that we have the infrastructure and we have the features and functionalities and security and everything in place that you need in order to create features and functions for your end clients or for your secondary clients, or even for an entire ecosystem. And then we have the Backend Services Sdk, so somewhere where you can develop your own services upon that platform. You can hot plug them for testing. You can try and see what it does, which is especially relevant and handy within projects where you need to do iterative design and so on, and be able to quickly test and try things. There's things like the modules, which are the front-end modules, basically the things that the client sees. And there is also a client for that, which you can use to test and try your modules and you can work on. So you can build upon the platform, you can extend the platform, and you can also make use of that work that other people have done so far on the platform. So you can query, for instance, a feature that somebody else has designed, let's say the chatbot, and use that functionality within your own projects. And of course, the question open source always rises. And to me, I've been working with Mark Fleury and Joel Lindfors a lot at the beginning of MiBida, of founding the company. And Mark Fleury and Joel Lindfors are the founding fathers of JBoss, which you might know. It's a very big, one of the first really big open source projects. And it's not just a magic word. Okay, so it's not just putting your source out there and it's open source. Well, technically, yeah, that would be, but you would need to have an active community of developers in order for it to be interesting and to be something that will lift off. And that's kind of a problem for us to build that yet. So for now, we have not made the platform open source yet, but we are very well open to other parties willing to become part of a growing open source community around the platform. We will embrace that and we will support that if there is the chance and the right time. So the main thing, next slide, please. So the main thing, what I want to give to you is, if you are doing a project and you want to get it out there, the use of an open service platform can bring you tremendous benefits. For instance, in the time to market, the time it will take you in order to get the thing that you want, your idea, and the thing that you want to help your clients or your citizens or whatever clients you have in mind, you want to help them with. You want to get there as quickly and efficient as possible. So time to market is improved a lot by using an open platform, because you can leverage years and years and years of development. If I look at our platform, this has been developed in the last course of the last 13 years, and the constant development and constant upgrading. So it's still an ongoing process. We're always developing. You can leverage off of all the things that every platform needs, and you don't need to develop them again and again and again. So you can build together. And basically that's one of the most important things, is together we can make big projects and big ideas come true without having to put all the effort from the start in again and again. Next slide, please. So a open platform basically gives you a very solid base to work from. There has already been put a lot of thought in a lot of things like security, like backups, like encryption, like distribution of everything within the platform, and you can just utilize that, and you can focus on the features and the functions that you want to get out there. The platform also foresees in things like scalability, modularity, performance, all things that mostly in European projects, if I look at them and if I follow them and if I see from my own experience, I've been part in like 8 projects extensively, that are not really key issues in the project, because what the project wants to achieve is to get their functionality tested and out there. But what happens afterwards? How do you scale up and how do you make it available to the rest of the world? That's kind of always a problem. The usage of existing services and modules, things that other people have built, that's also a very solid ground to build upon and to build further. So basically you're creating exponential growth if you're looking at defining features and creating solutions based upon open platforms, because also other parties can leverage off of your work and can continue with what you have done, and you can also benefit from that again by incorporating that. So it's not only the things that you develop for your feature, but also what others can do with those things that you have developed. So that's a very interesting thing if you ask me. So then we're into a few examples. So next slide, please. Yeah. So we're into a few examples of things that we have done with the platform so far. And one of the first things, because this is now the biggest thing that we've got running into the field from my point of view, is RPM, remote patient management. And especially these days, it's a very important topic, because there is a lot of things going on in patients, and we want to be able to give them the best possible care that we can in the field, but we can't always get them to the hospital, and we don't always want them to be at the hospital, especially in these days of Corona. So what we do is we monitor them from the home. We have got live vital signs, we've got questionnaires, we've got a chatbot checking them out. And there's also things like lifestyle monitoring and that kind of stuff. And patients can be coached from the hospital or from their GP when they fall out of hospital care, or from the care organization if they are in there, and be monitored to receive the healthcare they need at the specific times they need. And we see that this really reduces the amount of hospital admissions. We've got a paper out there now which indicates for certain patient groups, so COPD, heart failure, that kind of stuff, of 80% of the admissions at the hospital, and it greatly increases the quality of life there as well. Another example, this is basically also the ideas of net carity within the process, is the care plan ecosystem. And it's an ecosystem where we focus around the needs of an older person living at home. So communication with their family, friends, with their care organization, those are all parts of this care plan ecosystem. And they've got a really different way of interfacing with the product, as you can see. It's still the same platform, but there's some other modules loaded that visualize things in a drastically different way. So you're really flexible into experimenting with different modalities of interfacing. And with the platform, people can have more control over their healthcare at home, and they can stay safe longer at home. And another example, and this one might also be interesting for Robert Thijssen, is Zicht op Zorg. I don't know if he knows it actually, but in the north part of North Holland, so province, northern part of that province in the Netherlands, we basically connected all healthcare providers together. So we have general practitioners, we have care providers, we have hospitals, we have the paramedics. So everybody is connected to each other. There is a large overview of all the people in there so that people can find each other and can raise questions and can do stuff together. And together with those participants, we have developed all kind of functions based upon the platform, which they can leverage to ease their work and to ease the care between all these healthcare providers, such as sharing information, such as transferring patients, such as transferring patient information. So as you can see, these are all very different examples of the things that you can do with the platform in order to provide new functionality and provide things to the outside world, and that you can really get out there sometimes in a matter of weeks. Example from the corona pandemic, we had cardiac patients doing their fit training at the hospital, and that was impossible due to corona. And within 2 weeks, we transferred that entire care path with a new platform solution to their homes, that they could do fit training at home and being coached remotely. So you can really get things out there very quick if you know what the possibilities are. But also we still have a lot of challenges. We are a really small company. At this moment, we've got 4 employees. So I mean, that's really small, right? So we're running into things like policies even, where, for instance, the hospital says we have a Microsoft or Chipsoft unless policy, where we just want to work with those big companies unless there's something that they really can't deliver. Well, that's somewhere where we are luckily in the field, because they don't really do anything outside of the hospital. So yeah, we can leverage on that. But getting known is a specific point that's really difficult for us, because we like to develop together with hospitals, together with care institutes. They're also not the best communicators. We are not the best communicators. So basically, we live off their mouth-to-mouth speech, what they tell to other parties, and that is where we get our new customers from. But there's also things, of course, like regulations. There is kind of like all things in our regulations that make it hard to get innovative care paths running, and also finance systems. You would probably know that, but there are some perverse things in the Dutch finance system where if you remove care from a hospital and move it, for instance, to a general practitioner, the hospital still gets paid the full amount of money, because it's just that they get paid for a patient with a specific condition. And the GP gets extra because he's needing to do some work, so the total cost rises, whilst the patient is not going to the hospital anymore, but only to the GP, which is should be a lot cheaper. So there's things in the finance system that are difficult. Yeah, of course, in the last place, sharing knowledge along with getting known. I would like to spend entire days sharing knowledge and stuff, but we also have a lot of work to do. So that's also a difficult point, and how to share the knowledge at the right places at the right time to really get collaborations going is something that is really a challenge to do right. So with that, I think I'm well over I'm on 1 minute over the 20 minutes, so maybe quite still on time. So I'm open for questions and hoping to be able to give some answers.
Thank you, Bas, for the really nice presentation. I see that Luke has posted a nice question in the chat option. He's asking for care paths. Is it about content only, or do you include presenting the treatment chain in a convenient graphical manner?
Yeah, basically what we do when I talk about care paths, we take existing care paths that are mostly done at the hospital only, and we transform them into care paths that are mainly given from the home itself. So people stay at home, and the platform is actually guiding the patients visually, but also with cues and stuff like that into their own care path. So it asks the patient, you need to provide this information at a specific time, or we are going to do this and that now. And that can also be done with the chatbot, for instance. So the chatbot can act as a kind of coach to the patient within its care path. But it's hardly ever that we take an existing care path and make only a visualization of it. We transform the care path for the user so that it can be given from home instead of hospital admission.
Thank you, Bas. I have a question for you. Since you have already successfully running business, no matter the size of your company, what would be your ultimate advice for newcomers? You mentioned some of the challenges that you faced and you successfully tackled, but what would be your advice for a person who enters the market with his or her platform and would like to be successful as you are?
Work together with your with your customers. I think that for us, we have worked many hours just listening to what our customers wanted, and also just looking at their work and what they were doing, and actually showing what the platform was capable of doing within their environment to help them out. And it's really an iterative process to get. So if you don't like hospitals, then don't go into that route. If you don't like care institutes, then don't go into that route. You really need to be in there. And that has been for us one of the main things. One other thing, and that's something that we fail to do a lot, but it's marketing communication. It seems to work. There probably are some studies in that area, but it's good to, if you have good results. So if you've worked together with the hospital, it's good to really show these to the world. And that's part where we're always struggling at. How do you do that without looking like, hey, look at what we have achieved and how good we are? Because I'm not that kind of person.
All right, thank you very much for the really nice answer. Are there any other questions for
Yes.
Bas? Please.
Bas, as let's say, I can clearly see that we are in different boats, but we are floating to the same direction.
Good.
I join to almost all your statements because you are very correct in all this identification of problems and issues and challenges. Question regarding the chicken and egg problem. During the progress of the mankind, the people who first time looked at the telephone, they didn't know how to use it. So when there was internet, no one could imagine what happens now, okay? So when we speak with end users, they sometimes do not understand what is possible. So they don't have imagination. They can have it only when it's implemented. So this is clearly chicken and egg. What is your approach, your team?
Yeah, mainly what we do, it's true what you say, and it's also, people envision things that would improve their quality of work, and sometimes they are right, and sometimes they are not, and things like that. So there's a lot of things going on there. But for me, I like to walk around, basically. I like to work together, or to get as much information from the work floor, and to work with the nurses, to work with the doctors, to have conversations with them, and I try to agitate them at specific points, like what if, or like, hey, I see this, would this be helpful? And together we can try this in very short iterations. So if I say, okay, what if we could do something like this? And then next few days they can try it, and they can see what the impact is. And of course, it needs to be polished and perfected, but they can get an idea of what it does. So really short iterations, working together. But you need to be out there. You can't just ask them, what can we do to help you with? You really need to be out there and to see what they're struggling with, and how you, with the knowledge of your platform, together with them with the knowledge of the work, can cooperate in order to create a solution. We can't create a solution on their own. as much as they can't envision the solution on their own.
Thank you. That's good advice. And second, what's your team business model? What do you look forward? Because we need to earn money to keep people.
Yeah, definitely. I'm kind of finding my way at the moment. The corona pandemic has certainly helped us a bit in that regards. What we are doing right now is we have a kind of license model. So people using the platform together with all the services we provide, they pay a certain amount of money per month per patient, and that works the best in hospital environments. For general practitioners, we do it a little bit differently, but so they pay per patient for the services that they receive for the time that the patient is in the platform or active in the platform. That's basically what we do right now.
Okay, thank you.
All right, if there are no other questions for Bas, we move forward with our really interesting presentations. Sergey Godunov, the floor is yours.
Can you see my screen?